Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So as promised, when I did do my DeVilbiss DV1 Clear review, I got some footage of myself going ham on a Mercedes bonnet, and this was the job I was actually referring to. So I'm actually a big lover of Mercedes Benz. I've liked them ever since I used to have this 1969 220D was the model. And that was just a brilliant old car. It looked so nice. I got like the black tinted windows on it, and I had the painted hubcaps, and I just love that thing. And I've always sort of continued to like my Mercedes Benz. So all that aside, whenever one of them comes in, I'm just like, step away, guys, it's mine. It's like a battle zone. If you try stepping in front of me in front of a nice Mercedes Benz, well, they don't even try. Nobody even would ever consider taking a paint job of a nice new Benz off of me. They know what I'm like. One day, I actually do plan on buying a nice newish Mercedes Benz. I say newish because, yeah, brand new, obviously, you just pour way too much money in. 1/3 of the price will just get wiped off of it the second you drive off the driveway. But all of that aside, that's not why you're even here, is it? You don't care if I like Mercedes Benz. You're here to watch me slam a couple of coats of clear coat down onto this bonnet. So yeah, as I said before, it's the DeVilbiss DV1. The air cap is C1. That's the new clear air cap for the new DV1 clear. And I actually swapped out the fluid tip. I got this gun with a 1.2 mil in it, and I actually swapped it out with a 1.3. So I found the 1.2 was a bit like anemic, I guess, like just left you wanting a little bit more. It felt like it was just a bit choked up and wasn't really getting a nice amount of material out. And it's only been around 25 Celsius, so forgive me, I can't remember the conversion off the top of my head to Fahrenheit, but I think it'd be around 70 or 80, something like that. So it's not even really that hot. And even the 1.2 was just not quite enough for me. So I can only imagine in the warmer months, 1.2 would just be like a forget about it type thing. However, in the colder months, when you don't want to overload it for the risk of runs, 1.2 might be the way to go. You know, if you live in a cold environment, then it could be worth looking at getting the 1.2. But yeah, for me, I'd probably say to go for the 1.3 for most people. Probably a little bit more versatile. It's probably the kind of thing that you can, dial in the colder months, but you can also open it right up in the warmer months. I guess there's only a limit to so much you can do with a smaller tip in the warmer months, isn't there? That's only going to go so fast, isn't it? So yeah, you can always slow down a fast gun, but it's hard to speed up a slow one, isn't it? So I actually forgot to write down the color code for this job, so apologies about that. It's actually a pretty damn nice color. I do like the colors on the Mercedes. Here I am. I'm about to go on another rant about how much I love my Mercedes Benz. But no, I think that the colors that they've chosen really do suit the prestige of the vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine how out of place like a Mazda Soul Red or like a Soul Red Crystal or a Candy? To me, it wouldn't suit a luxury vehicle like this. I just think the nice, relatively subtle but nice metallics do quite suit the Mercedes-Benz style quite well. But yeah, as I say, I forgot to write the color code down, or I forgot to take a photo. Now, it did actually need a little bit of color matching, and I decided before I even started this job that I wasn't going to blend the fenders on this vehicle. They were down to be blended, but if you hang around to the end, we'll have a look at this car when it is all finished off. If you actually hang around to the end, you'll see that the bonnet compared to the guards, there's like a instant drop off. It comes on a completely different angle, so you can spray them two panels, like the fenders and the bonnet, the exact same color, and they will still always look different because you're looking at like the face of one color of one panel, and then you're looking at the flip of the other panel, so you never really Well, you are going to see a color difference, but it's always going to look, even if it's the same color, it's going to look different because you're looking at the color on a different angle, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, all that aside, I did actually blend this bonnet anyway. So I chose one of those swage lines on the bonnet, the last line, to go off, and I did get the color quite good. It was actually quite bad off the machine. I don't know, sometimes with that Spectro, you'll just have a run of like great colors for months, and then it'll throw up like 5 or 10 bad ones. Then you get it recalibrated and it's all good again. So yeah, just using the Standox solvent-based base coat on this one. Obviously, I didn't include the base coat stage. I don't know, I just guess I was just in a hurry, and sometimes like the more video footage I get, the more editing I need to do, and then I'm just sort of turned off actually making videos. So I've always gone through stages where you know, I just don't feel like editing and making videos, but when I do get going on making a video, like I'll make like 5 or 10 and then I'll get ahead and then I can have like a month off. But yeah, like the atomization of this gun is quite fine. It does really remind me of the T110 air cap on the GTI Pro Lite. Just for the sake that it does get it on really flat. But the closest comparison absolutely would have to be the TE10. I haven't used a great deal of the TE10, but I got this Hot Rod Pro Lite recently from Spray Guns Direct. They decided to send one out, and I said, hey, send it out in the TE10, because I didn't actually have a TE10 at the time. And then I used that for clear, and I'm like, wow, this is like exactly the same as the DeVilbiss DV1 clear gun. So I don't know, it's one of those things like, if you were to come up to me and say, hey, should I get a DV1? I've been really thinking about it. You know, I don't mind the price and I'm looking for dead flat finishes. I would say, look, you're not going to get anything a great deal different than your Pro Lite. It's going to perform on par with your Pro Lite TE10. Personally, I've never been the biggest fan of the T110, and that's because it doesn't have a big fan. See, that came out funny. I'm not the biggest fan because it doesn't have a big fan. Yeah, the T110 can get it on nice and flat, but I found that the TE10 got it on just as flat, but with a bigger fan. So yeah, if flat is what you're looking for, personally, out of my recent experience, I would say go TE10. It does go through a little bit more material than the TE20, does get it on a bit finer, but yeah, if that's what you're looking for, if you're doing custom paint work or you're doing resprays and you know you want flatness, maybe look into getting that air cap. And that's another a very strong point of the Pro Lite is the interchangeability. It's one thing that the DV1 started to restrict you down a little bit more. To me, it's like they've started to take a leaf out of Sada's book and they're like, hey, give us some of that. But to me, it's like, I don't know, look at what made you what you are, you know. It's all these things like interchangeability, like prices and all those kind of things that made you the greatest and probably, you know, best known spray gun manufacturer in the industry. Why would you go and copy the competition who does cop a bit of flack? Like there is a lot of painters out there who are like, they sort of resent the Sada sprayers because they seem to get this, some of them, not all of them, don't get me wrong, it's just a spray gun in people's hands, but it can feel sometimes like these people that are in these communities, these SADA communities, can feel as if they're better than other guys. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's kind of the vibe that they give off, as if they're like some kind of a god and they're, you know, better than the lowly peasants who use Iwaters or DeVilbiss or whatever other, you know, Segola, whatever other spray gun manufacturer it is that you might use. And I mean, I don't know, it seems more like of a white collar approach to a spray gun. That's the way that Sada's sort of come across to me anyway. Whereas DeVilbiss has always been the more blue collar, you know, like it's like a working man's gun for a working man. Like, yeah, sure, you know, they're not going to be quite as expensive, but they will actually perform just as well. They will last just as well, you know, like. And another thing I always go on about is value for money, you know, like, sure, I do get these guns for review, you know, I don't actually pay for them, and that's cool, but I still put myself in your position. Like, I put you guys ahead of any corporation, I can tell you now, and I'll happily lose my sponsorship if if they start, you know, telling me how to make my videos. Like, I said that from the very start to Chris from Spray Guns Direct. It was one of the very first things I ever said to him. I said, you know, I must retain full 100% control over anything I say. As far as you're concerned, I could turn around and say, I don't like you guys. That's not just, you know, I might turn around and say, I don't like the gun. And I also might turn around and say, I don't like you guys. And he's like, that's totally fine, man. You know, he said, we actually want to know if we're doing things wrong. And to me, that's actually a sign of a good company, the one that actually puts the customer first, you know. But all of that aside, probably got a little bit deep and meaningful and into a very long rant, partly because I just had to grind out this video. It's like Sunday afternoon, I'm sitting in my office when I probably should be sitting in the lounge room watching a movie or some YouTube myself, but hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. We've got another, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes left to go, and we'll have a good look over this bonnet. I reckon I managed to get it pretty damn flat. If anything, too flat. So I was using the Standox Standard Clear in this video, and it's a thinner clear. It's actually a 4:1 ratio, which is a bit odd. Like, prior to working in this shop, I was always glazer it all the way, every shop I ever worked in, and most other clears I ever used were always 2:1, but then I started using Standox, and then they've got all these funny mixing ratios, like 3:1 clears, 3:1 VOC top coats, and then they've got this 4:1 clear, which I found like weird, you know. And it's, so they say that it's like, it's not an MS, but it's not a HS, it's like in between, it's like a hybrid. So when I first started using it, I thought it was a VOC clear. Like, what kind of clear takes a VOC hardener that isn't a VOC clear, right? You know, so yeah, this is 4:1 with VOC hardener, but it's not a VOC clear. So figure that one out. So yeah, Standox do things a little bit differently. It's not to say that the quality of their products is bad. In fact, they're quite the opposite. They are some of the best on the market, Standox products. So yeah, I really do appreciate the fact that I do get to use Standox paint. And this stuff does really hold a nice gloss, but you do just have to be careful. Like, don't go and smash this much paint on and then press bake too quickly, because you can trap those solvents in there if you're not careful. But yeah, I managed to retain quite a nice gloss. But what did actually end up happening is, if you hit bake on this spray booth too early, you can get stuff falling from the roof, because it just sucks in all the dust from the workshop. And I hit bake too early because we just did actually have these roof filters changed, and it was going fine, and it's only been like a month and a half or something, and they're starting to fill up with stuff already. So I had to polish like half of this bonnet back. It's a bit of a pain in the bum, but it is what it is. And the end result is something that I would be happy with on my own vehicle. It looks very nice, if you ask me, and a very nice looking car. So yes, SLK350, very nice car. Look, at the end of the day, I actually wouldn't drive one of these. I can appreciate the niceness of this car, but I've never actually really liked the roadsters. I like the two-door coupes that they have, like the C200s, C250s, C300s and stuff like that, but I could never really see myself driving one of these around. Thanks for sitting through my rant and watching me paint some shit. Until next time, get out there and paint some shit for yourself. Gunman out.